I'd like to invite our Impact Track moderator, Himalaya Rao, to join me on stage. Himalaya is the managing director and solo general partner of the BFM Fund, a seed stage fund focused on highly scalable Black and diverse-led deal flow across industries within the United States. Prior to becoming a GP, Himalaya got an MBA and specialized training in venture finance and worked in 7 different firms as an associate, deal lead, and eventually fund manager. She is also currently the co-executive director of Venture Partners, a nonprofit aimed at training people at the intersection of race, class, and gender, helping them break into venture capital to facilitate more representative decision makers. This nonprofit was launched in partnership with Virtue Lab and the National Venture Capital Association's Venture Forward VC University. Through her work in creating equity within venture capital, she has been recognized as one of the rising stars in venture capital by the NVCA Venture Forward, a 40 under 40 recipient by the Portland Business Journal, and a VCI fellow. As a national leader in demographic-based investing, she was invited by Senator Wyden to present expert witness testimony in front of the United States Senate Finance Committee on her work with BIPOC founders. Please help me welcome Himalaya.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see so many faces. My name is Himalaya, as was just mentioned. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for having me. It is so wonderful, honestly, to see so many faces because I know how long the poker game went last night. I don't know how many of you were there. I want to start out by giving a quick shout out here. Stacy, last name unknown, and Joe Janda, if you're in the audience, thank you so much. Oh, wow, look at that, right in the back there. I just want you to know, these two collectively and consensually robbed us all blind last night, so thank you for that. Stacey, you should connect since you took all my money and I still don't know your last name, so thank you. This is actually an annual thing that happens. We have Ross Barbieri here, we have Cliff DeGroot, we have Ben Parrish, Ben Nahir. They all put together an annual poker night, and it's shenanigans, so thank you for putting that together. I hope you all enjoyed the festivities yesterday. Besides the networking where you got to meet so many people, there was also auxiliary events being put on by Portland Seed Fund. There was events being put on by Cascade Seed Fund. There was a little intimate gathering being put on at the Oxford with Elaine from TAO and Marquita from BFM. And I bring up all of these events because Bend and Oregon, it is my favorite time of the year to be in Oregon. Bend Venture Conference holds a really soft spot in my heart because it's just a place where even when there's so much hierarchy that exists in business, for a moment in time at Bend Venture Conference, we get to collide and we get to interact across founders, funders, and ecosystem builders. So I hope that you're leaning in, and I hope that you are attending all of these events and auxiliary events for maximal bonding. Okay, so we are here to kick off the impact track. So we are gonna be presented with phenomenal companies, and the first of which is Johan Kurz. And Johan Kurz is from Birch Biosciences. Birch Biosciences is engineering enzymes to act like molecular scissors that break down plastics, and that helps it become more efficient, economical, and sustainable plastic recycling. So I'm gonna welcome Johan to the stage. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thanks, everyone. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here to tell you about our company, Birch Biosciences. At Birch, we engineer enzymes for plastic recycling. So we consume globally about $500 billion worth of plastic every year. And in the United States, we consume more plastic per capita than anyone. As you might know, we recycle very little of this material, less than 10% in a given year. This is a terrible number. We really need new ideas and real innovation in the plastic recycling space to bring plastics into the circular economy. So Birch is led by Emily, Miles, and myself. We're 3 highly technical entrepreneurs that care deeply about the environmental impact of plastics. We've previously led teams and developed technology for leading synthetic biology companies. So what's the problem that we're trying to solve? It's really mechanical recycling. So today, about 98% of plastics are recycled using heat, which requires a ton of energy. This heat damages the plastic. It produces lower quality outputs that actually hurts the value of the plastic. It really makes this process less economical. And at the end of the day, more often than not, when a soft drink bottle is recycled, it gets turned into a textile that's never recycled. This is a linear recycling system, not a circular one. What we're really excited about is reinventing plastic recycling. We think that enzymes can address all of the major deficiencies of plastic recycling. So we've designed enzymes to work at low temperature. It doesn't require a lot of heat to recycle these plastics, and as a result, we produce a much higher value product. It has more value at the end of the process. We've significantly simplified plastic recycling using enzymes, and at the end of the day, this is circular. It enables infinite plastic recycling, where we can go from beverage container to beverage container to beverage container again and again and again without the major deficiencies associated with mechanical recycling. Perfect, thank you. So there's a lot of good work that's gone on before us, right? The mechanical recyclers have tried hard to try and push the technology and do the best they can with their system, but there's a limit to what mechanical recycling can do. Over the last 10 years, a lot of chemical recycling companies have popped up. This is a large umbrella term, but it ranges from heating up plastics at high temperature to dissolving plastics in solvents to produce transportation fuel or other petrochemicals. I would argue that, by and large, chemical recycling does not address the sustainability and the circularity needs of our economy today. And that creates a huge opportunity for companies like Birch to come in and totally reinvent how plastics are recycled. So how do we do this? We grind up plastics and add them to our proprietary engineered enzymes. These enzymes act as molecular scissors. They effectively chop up plastics into the building blocks that were used to manufacture that plastic in the first place. These plastic chemicals are then recovered, purified, and repolymerized to produce a high-value, high-quality plastic product. And this sort of cycle can turn again and again. We're focused on the $39 billion PET market to start. So PET plastics are those plastics stamped with the #1 symbol in your recycling bin at home. They include beverage containers, plastic clamshells, and about 60% of the clothes that you buy. About a third of this market globally comes from recycled plastic today. What's interesting is that the growth of this recycled fraction of the market is really supply constrained. There's a huge shortage of high-quality recycled PET. There's a couple of other factors at play. Governments are passing mandates that force companies to use recycled materials in their products. And consumers are finally paying attention. They're starting to pay more for products made with sustainable materials. What I'm talking about here is a perfect storm, where you have this market that's supply constrained, governments are mandating use of that constrained market, and consumers are demanding more of that material. Birch will be the technology provider that debottlenecks the supply of recycled PET for the global market. So what does our company actually do? We discover and engineer enzymes that produce circular plastic molecules. We go out into plastic-contaminated environments, places like auto wrecking yards or roadside ditches, and we collect plastics rotting in the environment. We bring them into the lab, find the microbes and the enzymes that are responsible for breaking down that material and producing these circular molecules. We can then take these enzymes and, using machine learning and other very sophisticated protein engineering technology, build enzymes that work under industrially scalable recycling conditions. We've spent the last year really focused on building high-quality enzymes. We're now at the point where we're ready to move to a new facility where we're building out a pilot plant. The goal there is to really demonstrate to our investors and our community that our technology works at scale. Primary point here is that the recovery and purification of these plastic molecules is really well understood by the plastic manufacturing industry. We don't need to reinvent how plastics are recovered and purified, the whole downstream of our process. The technical risk here is really in the front end. And this question, do our enzymes digest most plastics most of the time. So we will make money using two different models. One, through joint ventures, and the second, vertical integration. We have a $20 million LOI with one of the world's largest PET manufacturers. They build and operate recycling plants globally. We'll be the Intel inside. We'll build version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 of our technology, and sort of participate in the value creation that way. The second business model is really vertical integration. So right now, we're selling raw ingredients into the bottom of a supply chain. And as you may know, it's more valuable to sell the furniture and not the wood, to use that analogy. So the vertical integration model is really about Birch building in the Pacific Northwest small footprint, low emission recycling plants to try and extract more value for the technology that we've created. Birch is about 2.5 years old. We really got our start in early 2022 with a pair of SBIR grants funded by the NSF and the DOE. We were accepted into Y Combinator, the Business Accelerator, and the Bay Area shortly thereafter, but since then have really been focused internally on technology development. We need to build the technology and demonstrate that our technology works. We're really happy with the progress that we've made. I've mentioned this plan for a pilot plant in 2024, but what we're doing is setting ourselves up for a Series A. If we can show, when we show, that our technology is able to break down commercially available bales of plastic, we digest most plastics most of the time, we'll have demonstrated that the techno-economics pencil out, right? It's economical, it's sustainable, it's circular, like we have meaningfully solved the problem. That will allow us to raise money for a commercial scale plant and to begin recycling meaningful volumes of plastic by 2027. Birch has been supported by industry, by government, and by investors to date. I've been really sort of pleasantly surprised by everyone who wants to participate in this. So we have more than $80 million in letters of intent from major plastic manufacturing and product companies for both PET plastics and polyurethane. We've raised nearly $4 million in government grants, nearly $3 million in venture capital to date. I've talked to you today mostly about PET plastics, but there's many other major classes of plastic, and we can design unique enzymes for each of those major classes of plastic. So I'm a firm believer that enzymes will drive the circularity and sustainability of plastics moving forward. And we'd love to have your support as we carry out our mission to help bring plastics into the circular economy. Thanks for your attention.
Well done. Great pitch. Himalaya, take it away.
Okay, Johan, that was an excellent pitch, and the work that you're doing is so needed. I do have one question. I know we're going to turn it over to the audience after. You talked about being able to go to different areas, get plastic, bring it back to the lab, and when you're thinking about understanding what microbes exist, and so from a scalability standpoint, can you talk to us, those enzymes that you're engineering, is it just one enzyme that can break down all plastics? Are there specific enzymes for specific plastics? How long does that process take to discover which enzyme might go for which plastic, and then to apply that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because I took out all the science slides, which are frankly my favorite. It's unlikely that we will have a single enzyme that breaks down all plastic. It turns out that plastics, whether it's a Coca-Cola bottle or sort of name your favorite plastic product, all use different manufacturing processes, different additives. Plastics are wildly complex. And so we're planning a cocktail approach where we have specialist enzymes that break down different types of polymer. And we don't need a lot of them, just a few of them actually, but the goal here is to really have a highly efficient process that gets us to more than 90% yield. Because what we don't want to do is have a lot of leftovers, right, in our plant, and then what do we do with those? So we really want to drive these enzymes to break down as much of this material as possible, but it'll take a cocktail approach is the word we use.
All right, audience questions here.
What kind of infrastructure do you require existing recycling plants to implement in order for your product to see widespread adoption?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question. So the way that recycling plants work today, typically, is they have elaborate sortation on the front end. They use these conveyor belts and computer vision sorting systems to basically sort every PET bottle from every other type of plastic. It's wild. You can go on YouTube and sort of watch these videos. We're actually reusing very little of that material. Our process doesn't require perfect sortation. We don't need to separate the clamshells from the bottles. Like Oregon does a great job of recycling bottles, right? But we throw away every plastic clamshell for the sake of that bottle. Like a third of our plastic just goes to the dump because preferentially we only recycle those bottles. So we're going to take all of that material into our system and to be able to recycle that.
And caps and lids too?
So it's interesting because if you those are different enzymes. Like the Holy Grail is basically different classes of enzymes that, like step one, soft drink bottle with a lid and a wrapper. You add an enzyme, you liquefy the PET, right? The lid and the wrapper are inert. You can separate that using standard separation technology. That polypropylene lid will go into a separate sort of stream, and the wrapper might go into a separate stream, and we'll sort of come up with novel low emission solutions for each of those plastics.
Wild. At what stage in the manufacturing or recycling process do you come into the mix?
So we are, there's a couple of ways to look at this. Right now, like plastics are a commodity. You can buy 1,000-pound bales of plastic from the state of California. There's a single selling desk. It ends up on a barge. Plastics are shipped globally. It's a global commodity. So we could basically, our goal is to basically buy plastic, right? We can source it locally. We can source it from, we're based in Portland, from the greater Portland plastic ecosystem, right? But we really want plastics that have been pre-sorted, right, to kind of get rid of, the non-target plastics that are in there. But then it's really simple. We just grind it up, and you can think of our plant as a brewery/distillery, where we're not using microbes, but we're using enzymes, where we have these large stainless steel bioreactors where we digest these plastics and then recover these plastic circular molecules on the back end. Whether we do that or sort of a joint venture partner does that, we're sort of beyond the MRF, the materials recycling facility, where the recycling trucks go to, but we're just one step beyond that.
Does this technology keep the tiny plastic particles from being in the environment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There are plastics everywhere, right? It's kind of, microplastics, I'd mentioned like 60 to 70% of clothing is just plastic. There's a boatload of fibers that come out of the back end of your washing machine and sort of end up in the environment, right? So there's many different sources, right? I think importantly for us, what we are doing is we are adding value to plastic. Today, plastic has almost no value. It's crazy to think about it. It comes from oil. We use all the single-use plastic. We throw it all away. It has no value. That's why it ends up in the environment. But if you can demonstrate that plastic has value, that you can actually turn it back into a high-value application, all of a sudden the value of that plastic goes up. It's not necessarily like a 10 cents per bottle kind of deposit, but a lot less plastic will end up in the environment because we have demonstrated value. We can, either through legislation or other means, we'll be taking a lot of that material. And if you think of all the plastic in the ocean, right, one of the amazing things that we can do, especially in developing countries, is to say, this plastic has value. Don't just throw it in the river. Or people are not intentionally throwing it in the river, but they don't have, sophisticated collection systems. But it has value, and we'll end up with, a proper circular economy where plastics are valued and used again and again.
This is just incredible, Johan. Thank you so much. Wonderful pitch. Himalaya, you're up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johan. Okay. Also, I'm doing a fabulous job as a moderator because I forgot to tell you the instructions. Clearly, you guys did it already, but after every pitch, you go to menti.com. There's a code here, and you can type in your questions, and Shin will be back. So I'm going to blame this again on the poker night and the late night we had. Okay. All right, so next up we have Chase Kaman from ESG Brands. ESG Brands is creating cutting-edge technology that transforms agricultural waste into the materials of the future. So I'm excited to see and hear what that means. Chase, come on out.
Hello, thank you. And then I am waiting for the presenter notes on here. Give me one moment.
Hey, Matt, question. He wants presenter notes.
Oh, middle, Jason, your middle.
I wish I was good as Joth and could remember the exact presentation that I had, but I'm going to use this. Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Chase Kaman. I am one of 5 team members behind ESG Brands, a culmination of over 100 years of experiences in apparel, footwear, and beverage R&D. We stand at the precipice of a pivotal moment, an opportunity to revolutionize a marriage between farms and nutrition. We are a circularity company with a state-of-the-art technology converting agricultural waste from banana plantations into textile-grade fiber with potable water as a byproduct. We believe farms are the future of fashion, a most critical relationship at the intersection of nutrition and human comfort. This is important because apparel and footwear brands are searching for natural feedstock alternatives to water-intensive cotton, carbon-intensive wool, and other biosynthetic materials which rely on hazardous processes and replace natural fibers poorly. There are many trends that we know to be true. The textile industry at large has been experiencing a wide range of pressure across trade and policy, with issues on traceability and government regulations requiring brands to account for climate targets. Customer demand, with easier accessibility and transparency to supply chains, informed consumers are understanding the environmental and social costs of fashion. They're demanding change. And as a result, brands have public climate commitments and are seeking to future-proof their businesses today. Our solution to all of this is quite literally bananas. And our answer to those industry pressures is to industrialize a waste feedstock from the trunk of the world's #1 most produced fruit. This trunk, otherwise known as a stem, contains what we think of as green crude, with a wealth of opportunity for ESG to harvest. In order to meet the needs of brands and harvest this banana stem, it's important to offer solutions that enable growth across the supply chain without sacrificing bottom line. To do this, we've developed a business plan and invented Tempo technology to degum or cottonize fiber from the banana plant into Banex banana fiber. What you see here is called sliver, and this is a precursor to yarn spinning. We have been deeply focused on building a strong and reliable supply chain in order to feed the apparel and footwear industry with sustainable material solutions at scale, and that's really important. Along this journey, we've submitted for IP, secured significant supply chain partnerships, and are actively scaling up nearshore to the United States today. Now, banana fiber isn't new to the world. It's been around for thousands of years as an artisanal fiber, and most recently as a bio-based feedstock for alternative synthetics. But these aren't long-term solutions. Brands want natural fiber to solve natural fiber problems. In addition to banana fiber, today it is extracted at the farm, banana fiber today is extracted at the farm level, which has tremendous waste and as a result has limitations to scale. And then there's also additional carbon impacts at that. What we're doing is focused on sustainability at scale, which keeps carbon in motion and optimizes the process from farm to fabric. We purchase a percentage of the stem, not fiber. And we chose bananas because of their economics. The plant acts like a tulip. So you plant it once, it regrows for 24 years. To harvest the fruit, it's about a 9-month maturity cycle. And then after you harvest the banana fruit, you actually cut the stem down to the ground. And then those stems in certain parts of the world, they're burned. In other parts where we're operating today, they're actually left on the ground. But we can optimize the soil health and the plant health by taking a percentage of that stem. And so from a 50-pound stem, we harvest 2 pounds of fiber, 5 gallons of water, and 10 pounds of biomass. The fiber goes through Tempo technology, which follows the 12 principles of green chemistry. Water can be recirculated into our process, and in the long term, it's potable water, for a lot of opportunity there. And the additional biomass can be utilized as fuel today, and in the long term, Tempo technology can process this into alternative bio-based feedstocks. We're changing the way people consume by valorizing the entire waste system. We're focused nearshore today, where 25% of the textiles are produced with significant addressable market. We have an earth shot at supplying 10% of the cotton market in 10 years through ingredient branded material and licensing our technology in the long run. In addition to Tempo Technologies' ability with banana fiber, we can process bast fibers as well. So hemp, flax, which is linen, pineapple leaves. And as an advanced materials company, at each level of investment, we will continue to reinvest in IP, driving significant innovation to support multi-purpose agriculture at the intersection of nutrition and textiles. And this is significant because we're targeting big climate problems, which offer sizable returns. Years 1 through 2, we're scaling up with co-manufacturers. Years 3 and beyond, we're really leaning into the demand of the market, those missed climate targets that are happening in 2025. And we're really leaning into licensing our technology and the multi-valorization of all the other waste. And we're an impact company at heart, generating significant impact as we substitute feedstocks today. For this model, we're comparing ourselves to organic cotton. However, when you look at wool and other materials, there's more significant savings that we can have. And next is what I'm most proud of. So I'm surrounded by a team of industry game changers and veterans, and the team has experience taking invention from concept to point of sale for institutional brands and startups alike. And we have deep experience scaling inside of commercial manufacturing environments. But we don't know everything, and as a startup, we have incredible advisory from prominent figures within the industries and the sectors that we operate. And our journey thus far has been tremendous. It doesn't mean it hasn't been easy. We're, from being self-funded and really figuring it out, we were then in a position to ask friends and family to help support our growth. And over the course of a year and a half, we have built a supply chain, gained industry, government, and accelerator support, developed and submitted for IP, and today, scaling so we may go to market. Today, the future needs you, and we want to empower industry brands and supply chain partners to be the hero, making use of material that already exists on top of the ground to change how people consume. And we believe in unlocking a sustainable future, and we welcome you to join us.
Well done. Amazing. Himalaya, first question goes to you.
Well, I mean, I think the first question is, when can I get my banana shirt?
No kidding.
That is my
I'm
first
hoping
question.
I can wear something by Christmas.
Awesome.
I want to come here to BVC next year wearing a banana shirt.
I want an
so,
entire
you know,
banana suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, banana suit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it feels right.
Full
Yeah.
blazer. I like that. Okay. Chase, great presentation. I wanted to ask you, particularly because you're focused on ESG, when you're thinking about sourcing, what does that look like from an ethical standpoint, from a regulatory standpoint, from a sustainable standpoint? How are you ensuring that you do that appropriately?
Yeah, it's important. And one of the reasons that we started a company was we can help control that, right? When you work at brands, you don't have as much control over that destiny. And so we called ourselves ESG Brands for a reason. We wanted to kind of put a target on our back to make sure that, the way by which we build this company and choose our supply chain partners and the farms we operate with, we have a choice and we really do our diligence. We spent 9 months down in Central America just making those relationships with our agro-industrial partners, and we have made really strong, healthy relationships within the, we're operating out of Guatemala, to understand, okay, who are the good players, right? Who can we feel really confident doing good business with? And then it's also the brands who want to procure our materials. We're working and speaking with some prominent sustainability brands who have their own methods by which you're analyzing the supply chain. And so we can kind of lean on things that they've done already, as well as just partnership.
Okay, Chase, how does ESG compare to or compete with the Herd Company?
Which one?
The Herd?
Oh, yeah. So Herd Co., if I recall, are processing hemp. And the way that degumming or cottonization is occurring today, what we've been able to do is, follow the 12 principles of green chemistry, so it's a really clean process, which dramatically reduces the speed, and because of our process, dramatically reduces the speed at which we are able to degum. We've been able to degum bast fibers in as fast as 30 minutes, where the industry standard is around 10 to 12 hours. Or you can really lean into hazardous chemical processes and get it down to 2 to 3 hours. And so in an industrial setting, we are at 2 to 3 hours, but we're following the 12 principles of green chemistry. We don't require wastewater treatment, which is a significant value add right there to where we operate. And then at the same time, we have a phase 2 technology, which think of it as a turbocharge to what we're doing today. And so we're hoping to be able to get closer to that 1 hour mark. So It's really speed and the performance of the fiber.
What kind of fabric is Vanex similar to? What are some disadvantages of this fabric over the long term compared to common options such as cotton? How much does it last with wear and tear or regular washing?
Yeah, I think I'll go backwards. So it's a natural fiber, right? All natural fibers are kind of going to wash in a similar manner. How brands choose to apply their chemistries or their dye stuffs or whatever treatments they want to do to that textile, that governs a lot of what that end of use can occur, right? We will have our own branded textile, so we will be focusing on making sure that we have the best, most sustainable textile within our own brand. The second question.
How does it last over the long term? What are some of the disadvantages of this fabric over the long term compared to other options?
So the similarity, Banex is most similar. Think of it as a beautiful replacement for just natural fibers, right? It's an additional add to if you're going to blend it with cotton, wool, linen, things like that. We will also be building and promoting that ingredient brand where we can elevate banana fiber as like 100% product. And we're really hoping to build and fuel that performance natural fiber category, which no natural fibers can really do today. Cotton is a natural fiber, but the perception of it is it's soft and comfortable. It's never going to go to that performance. So we can really start to carve out that performance natural fiber category. And it skipped the middle question. The disadvantages of it. I'd love to call on our CTO, Dr. Eduardo Gonzalez here. Honestly, the beauty of it is it's a drop-in replacement within the natural fibers spinning process. And there really are no major disadvantages, right? It's a waste feedstock. It's supporting agriculture production, right? We have a food crisis kind of on our hands in certain areas, and it's just going to grow. And so this is, when we talk about early on, like this marriage between nutrition and fashion, and then Gen Z, right? And the direction of where the industry and the world is going, we have to have these harmonious supply chain solutions, right? And so that's what the technology does, and we have this feedstock that is it's this beautiful feedstock that's available.
Harmonious supply chain solutions. My goodness. Well done, Chase. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Himalaya, you take it away.
Okay. Chase, Shannon, don't go anywhere, actually. I'm going to call you right back up
Okay.
here. Chase, if you're listening, Shannon and I require matching Bannex suits for next year.
And a pineapple hat, Chase, if you could. One for me and
I'm
one
right
for
here, and
Himalaya.
I'll do
These are our requirements. So make it so. We'll be here next year. We're going to move on to our third impact presenter. It's going to be Jane Malia from Harvest Thermal. And Harvest Thermal is a smart thermal battery that slashes carbon by 90% and cuts monthly bills by 1/3. So please, Jane, come on out. We're excited to hear.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction. It's a real pleasure to be here. Let me find the clicker. Can you all hear me okay? Okay. So buildings release a massive 1/3 of climate emissions. That's as much as transportation. And we urgently need to address their climate impact. And an astounding 2/3 of the energy that we use in our homes is for heating and hot water, and most of that from burning gas in our furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. It's hard to get gas out of homes. What about comfort? What about costs? And what about the impact on the grid of transitioning that huge load from gas to electric? Harvest Thermal addresses all those problems. A Harvest system is made up of a regular heat pump, a tank, and our unique patented controller, the Harvest Pod. And together, they deliver heating and hot water to your home, always using the cleanest and cheapest electricity. The pod is the brains of the system. It's a smart IoT device about the size of a large shoebox, and it orchestrates the other devices. It runs that heat pump when electricity is clean and cheap, and when the heat pump's going to be most efficient. That delivers hot water to the tank that the pod manages as a thermal battery, carefully managing state of charge and stratification, and delivering your heating and all your hot water to your home whenever you need it. It works for forced air systems and radiant floors. It works for new homes and existing homes. It's easy to install and operate. It's smart, grid-connected, demand response capable, and protected by our IP. And the results are outstanding. Our systems are reducing on average emissions by 90% compared to gas. Let's think about that. We're talking about 2/3 of the energy use of our homes. So in one fell swoop, we're having a huge impact on the carbon footprint of our homes. Another context is over the life, a Harvest system is going to avoid the emissions of 55 tons of CO2. That's more than you save by ditching your gasoline car and buying a Tesla. Really importantly, we save on bills. We cut energy costs on average by 30%, between 20 and as much as 50% compared to gas. Now, heat pumps just don't do that, and we do. And that allows our customers to get a positive payback between 0 and 7 years. And it opens up the door for financing and that scalability that we saw behind the explosive growth of solar. What about comfort? Well, our system delivers quiet, stable heat, meets all your hot water needs. We have outstanding customer satisfaction and loyalty. We have a Net Promoter Score of in the 90s, well above the benchmark of the top quartile in our industry. But don't take my word for it. Here's some comments from some of our customers testifying to the comfort and the savings of a Harvest system. Now, what about the grid? So here's a day in the life of a grid operator. They have high costs and emissions in the morning and the evening, and often lots of clean renewables in the middle of the day. Our heat pumps are fantastic, but heat pump for heating, they operate instantaneously. They add load to the grid in the mornings and the evenings, and adding the need for costly capacity upgrades. Essentially, this is putting a ceiling on how fast and how much we can electrify our homes. Harvest system decouples the operation of that heat pump from the heating delivery. We can choose to run that heat pump when electricity is going to be cleanest and cheapest and when the heat pump is most efficient. We slash costs, we slash emissions, and we support a strong, clean, and renewable electricity grid. Essentially, we're taking heat pumps and we're making them better, smarter, cleaner, cheaper, and more grid-friendly to enable home electrification on a massive scale. This is a huge market. Every home needs a heating system. That's millions of systems per year, a TAM of hundreds of billions of dollars. But most importantly, it's a market in complete disruption as stakeholders around the world are looking for ways to transition our buildings from gas. And they're rolling out the building codes, incentives, and regulations to help make this happen. This is the 5th startup I've been part of, and never have I seen such tremendous tailwinds spurring us on. There are multiple paths to market. We started by working with existing homes, and we have a pool of 30+ independent contractors deploying our systems as I speak, and we're bringing on board distributors. I will have some good news to announce in Q1 of next year about that to really scale up. And we're, of course, working with new home builders. But the Harvest system is smart, grid connected. We can offer services to grid operators and utilities, to contractors and to homeowners to build that recurring revenue. Harvest system offers the most cost-effective system and the lowest climate compared to gas systems, as well as competing heat pump systems and other emerging technologies. And we're the grid-friendliest system out there. We've received a number of awards from grid operators, utilities, as well as grants, really confirming that fact. And of course, our customers love the experience, and we already have repeat customers. This is a new area ripe for innovation, and with a background in a series of startups, we've been very careful in protecting our IP. We have a series of patents with 3 more on the way this year. We have first mover advantage and a number of trade secrets. But fundamentally, a startup is all about the team. And I've been able to assemble a really awesome team of people I've known and worked with for many years. So my background is I'm an engineer. I've got a PhD in fluid mechanics from Cambridge University and 20 years of business leadership, mostly in clean energy startups. And I first met Dr. Evan Green, my CTO, when he and I were both working at a solar startup. And he took that company from 0 to 1.5 million units per year at the highest levels of quality and reliability. And he can't wait to do that again with Harvest. Other examples are Pierre Delforge. He's a known leader in building electrification. He's an expert in policy and product, but is opening so many doors in terms of connections. Matt Lacey, he has 16 years of leadership in sales and product at Samsung and at Daikin and others, including VP of Sales and Marketing for Samsung. We are also supported by a number of strong advisors, such as the VirtuLab team here in Oregon, as well as the Earth Foundry, Starshot, and others. And we received a number of grants from utilities, energy commissions, National Science Foundation. So far, we've raised $11 million, and next year, we're going towards a Series A. So where are we today? We launched commercially last year, and we now have sold well over 120 systems, and we're on track to deploy 1,000 by the end of next year. And that is the mantra that this whole company is working towards. I started in my backyard, which happens to be Berkeley in California, but then we expanded through California, and we've now expanded into Oregon and Washington State. In fact, just 3 weeks ago, our first system in Portland was commissioned, and it's a nice story behind that. That was one of our first customers in Berkeley, and they moved to Portland. And you know, the first thing they did on arriving here was install a Harvest system, and there are many more behind them. So if you do come to the Bay Area, let me know. I would love to show you one of our systems in person. But as you drive to SFO, make sure to look up and heat your home, not the planet, using Harvest Thermal. Thank you.
Wow, Jane, amazing. Impact track, am I right?
It's so good. You know, I was just thinking, like, all of these presentations have been phenomenal, and all of them have presented solutions that we absolutely need, because as we've experienced in Oregon in the last year, climate change has increased the uncomfortability of the different seasons and what that has brought. And so what your solution is offering, prioritizing both comfort as well as a solution that lowers the prospect of climate change, is really, really unique. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
One of the questions that I had for you was, if we're fired up here and we want this, you presented B2B and B2C business models in your business plan. So how does that look from the standpoint of integration into someone's home from a consumer standpoint versus a grid standpoint?
Yeah, so we work in a B2B2C model. Our customers are the contractors, the distributors, the new home builders, but we train them, we provide them with warm qualified leads, and we provide them the support that they need to be successful. And we're getting strong adoption. We now have a couple of contractors who are only deploying Harvest Thermal System because they're getting a lot of traction, a lot of interest. And we're having contractors coming to us because customers are telling them about Harvest Thermal, and that's really bringing it on. Of course, we're helping them by, we're getting a lot of interest, right? We're getting a lot of traction. We had 500,000 views by Matt Farrell's podcast recently, so we're getting a lot of traction coming to us. We're handing that over to the contractors to help make their jobs easier, but we really are working through those builders. So if you are looking for a system and you don't have a contract in your area, we can train them up and make sure they can help you install your system.
How does the Harvest Thermal Pod identify when to weigh the cost of electricity? If prices are high and it's cold, does the temperature override the price barrier and favor comfort?
So comfort and cost are the two top algorithms. Now, very soon, customers will be able to choose what's most important for them, emissions or costs, but cost really trumps it all. So we look into what is the rate schedule that you're operating under. What is your heating need over the next 24 hours? Use predictive demand and continuously correct for that. And then take into account what is the outdoor temperature, what is the characteristics of the heat pump to make sure we're always going to load up that thermal battery ahead of time, cost effectively, so you're always comfortable. You don't have to worry about it, but we save you bills and we save your emissions.
Just incredible. Are price thresholds standardized locally, statewide, entire user base, or user set?
So electricity prices and gas prices vary a lot, depending on utility, depending on your particular gas zone. So what we look at is what is your particular situation for where you're sitting, what is the rate schedule you have. Our contractors can advise you for what's going to be the best one for you to be able to make the most savings. But our systems are really smart and future-proofed. We have demonstrated demand response. We can also respond to day-ahead hourly price signals and do that while cutting bills. We just demonstrated that with an energy commission, doing day-ahead price signals, comparing our system to a regular heat pump system. And the bill to the homeowners was half our system compared to a regular heat pump system without any impact on customer comfort, which is really important.
Would this system also work as a drop-in replacement retrofit for buildings with existing hydronic or steam heating systems?
So we work with radiant floor right now. We currently don't yet do the radiators, but that will be coming on. Expect that in the next year or so. But typically we work with a specific heat pump today, and we're going to expand those heat pumps tomorrow. So some of our customers happen to have this heat pump. That was easy. We were able to retrofit with it. But most of our customers were coming to market when their gas furnace was about to die. We swap out their furnace, we swap out their tank, we replace our system. It doesn't take up any more space, and that is when we come into your home.
Is the Harvest thermal system also compatible with renewable energy sources such as solar panels?
Absolutely. So on my home, I happen to have solar panels. Many of our customers don't. It really doesn't matter. What we're doing is we're allowing it to self-consume, which is really important if you've got solar panels on it. But often the grid, there's a lot of renewable in the middle of the day anyway. So if you're in a situation where you can't do that, you can be sure that if you're using a Harvest system, we're optimizing the use of that cleanest electricity throughout the day, even if it's not from your personal roof.
And what is the average lifespan of the system?
It's typical for HVAC, so about 18 years with, very, very low, you want to replace the circulator pump after 10 years, a pretty standard maintenance schedule, but very, very easy to maintain.
And how is the system able to utilize electricity during the, let's see here, dark to heat water, air? There's a little window in front of the question. Yeah. How is the system able to utilize electricity during the day? So to heat water, air that will be used at night. Wow.
Yeah, that is a great question. That is really so foundational about what we're doing. So what we're doing is we operate that heat pump during the day when it's going to be most efficient, when electricity is cleanest and cheapest, and when the grid's got spare electricity, basically. We store that in that thermal battery. That tank is essentially, you can think about it as a Tesla Powerwall, only it's storing heat and not electrons. So it's all about that thermal battery, and we can then use that hot water for hydronic heating using forced air or radiant floor, as well as domestic hot water. So you can think about it as a heat pump with then a battery, a thermal battery, and then the delivery. So we can do whatever we want. You get your heating just whenever you and your family need it.
Incredible, Jane. Thank you so much. Really beautiful pitch.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done. Thank you.
I hope that you are enjoying these pitches. Jane, we need to talk after because I definitely need that. So one of the things that I wanted to say before we bring up the next presenter is that Oregon does this so well. We prioritize impact in our companies and in our startups. We prioritize being able to support companies that are doing well by doing good. And our next presenter is no stranger to that. Dexter Turner of OpConnect actually is an old acquaintance of mine, and so I'm so excited to introduce him. And he is making electric vehicle charging more accessible and efficient. Can't wait to hear more. Dexter, come on out.
Hi. We all know that the world is rapidly moving towards EVs. Think of this tree as all the EV chargers that we're going to need by 2030. The public chargers are those B2C opportunities that are very visible. You see those every day. But there's huge opportunities in what we like to call behind the fence, the B2B charging, that you may not see every day. I'm Dexter Turner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of OpConnect. And we offer smart charging solutions for fleets and multifamily properties to take advantage of tremendous market opportunities of over $40 billion in what I call behind-the-fence charging. Now, fleets are everything from cities, municipalities, school districts, food and beverage delivery companies. These are a wide variety of companies, but they all have some common needs. Uptime of the equipment is most important to a fleet operator. But they also want to minimize the cost of fueling that vehicle. When that bread delivery driver shows up at 5:30 in the morning to deliver the bread, the vehicle has to be charged. And if you can prove to the customer that you charge that vehicle and minimize their costs and save them $300 per vehicle over the last month, that customer pays a premium over some of the other verticals in our industry. Multifamily operators are also really cost sensitive. They want to be able to take revenue from their residents, but they want to minimize their installation costs. They want to minimize their ongoing operation costs because they have to have a positive ROI. Now, at OpConnect, we've developed a pretty unique Bluetooth charger that enables our multifamily customers to install the charging stations in underground parking garages in areas that don't have any Wi-Fi, that don't have any cellular, without having to spend the costly upgrade to bring that connectivity down to the garage. The charger makes a Bluetooth connection to the driver's mobile device, and then once that device is back up to street level, we ride on the driver's cellular signal to get the data back to our back end, saving both us and the customer money. Since our founding, we've been gaining significant traction. We've deployed over 2,500 charging ports. We're currently operating in 25 states and in Canada and Puerto Rico. And we're deploying now about 150 ports per month, so the numbers are really starting to scale rapidly. Our goal is over 500,000 ports deployed worldwide by 2030 and over 1 million tons of CO2 avoided during that time period. Now, while we've been gaining this traction, we have won competitive RFPs against very large, better funded companies. And the thing that has been common across all those wins has been our technology and our team. Everything from proving that we have superior IT security, we can protect our customers' data, proving that we can integrate with our fleet customers' existing fleet management systems, their existing asset management systems, so that they don't have to retrain their staff as they move from ICE vehicles to electric vehicles. And then the Bluetooth charger has been a big winner for us in multifamily. Now, the most exciting win that we've had that I'm announcing today is OpConnect has been chosen by Cummins, the third largest diesel drivetrain manufacturer worldwide, as their EV charging software provider. Now, when you hear Cummins, you probably think of diesel. They're over a $30 billion company with over 45,000 diesel drivetrain customers, but they are pivoting very heavily into zero emission, and we think that our partnership with them is going to be a big part of them meeting their goals. We're going to be providing the charging for their 1,200 plus fleet vehicles. We're going to be providing charging software for their 200 plus service centers throughout North America and workplace charging at all of their facilities throughout North America to start with. But the most exciting part about this relationship is we are building a Cummins-branded version of the OpConnect software platform that their sales team is going to be offering to this 45,000 customer base. Now, Cummins isn't getting into the EV charging business to be just another supplier like ChargePoint, Blink, or anyone else. They want to offer a differentiated solution. So we are partnering with their digital solutions team to integrate their battery health AI system with our EV charging management system to come up with a differentiated offering that's going to be unmatched in our industry. The other thing that I'm really excited about is at OpConnect, we have 6 salespeople. So you can imagine what kind of scale we're getting right now. They have over 300 salespeople. So this is going to be a significant change in our distribution capabilities. We are currently raising an $8 million A round. We've got about $3.9 million left to raise. And I'm not raising money to put it into owning and operating charging stations. That's not what we do at OpConnect. We are a hardware-enabled SaaS company. We sell charging stations, and then we have our customers sign a 5-year operating agreement with 2 automatic 5-year renewals. So we've got these customers locked up for up to 15 years, and they've proven to be very sticky. We have less than a 1% churn rate since we've been in business. And once we're in business on that customer's property, we charge them an annual software subscription fee, an annual maintenance fee, and we subcontract out the maintenance. And then if there's any revenue involved, we take a 10 to 20% cut of that revenue. These are some of the competitors that we go up against on a daily basis in the fleet and multifamily segments. Now, something you may notice about 2 of these competitors, in particular ChargePoint and Blink, is they are truly trying to boil the ocean. They're trying to compete and dominate in every single vertical in the industry, usually with a one-size-fits-all solution. And what we find is one size doesn't always fit all. At OpConnect, we have really narrowed our focus. We focus our engineering team, we focus our business development, our sales, everything around these 2 verticals. And we think that that focus has been what's enabled us to win all these competitive opportunities that we've engaged in. If you look at some of our current customer pursuits, these are some of the largest fleet and multifamily operators in the US. With our new distribution partnership, with additional scale to our sales team, we think we're going to be well positioned to go after some of the largest fleet and multifamily opportunities worldwide. Our revenue last year was about $2.3 million. We're projecting between 6 and 6.5 this year, but we think we can exceed $200 million in revenue in the years to come. Now, you can see from this chart that hardware sales make up a majority of our revenue, and that's our lowest margin currently. But with our hardware-enabled SaaS model, as the installed base of EV chargers grows over time, the software subscription revenue with this higher margin is going to become the dominant source for us. We are projecting year-over-year profitability by the end of 2024 and moving forward. So that's the OpConnect story. Be glad to take your questions.
Done. Beautiful pitch. Wow. Himalaya.
Okay. Dexter, always so good to see you. Congratulations on the Cummins partnership. That is huge. What I wanted to talk to you about is when you think about selling hardware versus selling software, are you doing that differently for different customers? For example, with the Cummins partnership, are you exclusively selling software to them across their different channels? And how does that look when you think about scalability and in like a 5-year plan for you?
Yeah, the Cummins partnership is different for us. Usually the software is bundled with the hardware. The customers don't want to separate the purchase. I call it the one neck to ring. I mean, they want one customer or one vendor to deal with. Whereas with Cummins, we're meeting their needs. So for the Cummins fleets, we're going to be providing hardware and software. For Cummins service centers, we're only providing software. For Cummins Workplace is hardware and software. And then for Cummins, the Cummins branded offering, we're licensing our software platform to them. So there's a one-time license fee and then an annual maintenance fee, and then we get paid a fee per year on every port that Cummins deploys for us. And that's why we're looking at it as a distribution partnership.
Is your SaaS offering agnostic to any charger?
It is, as long as the charger meets, there's an open standard in the industry called the Open Charge Point Protocol. Just about every piece of hardware out there meets it, with a couple of exceptions that are proprietary. As long as it meets that open protocol, we can manage it on our platform. And we currently have about 15 different manufacturers that we're managing today.
Very good. What is your exit strategy?
We feel that there's going to be some more M&A activity in the industry. There was a little bit of M&A activity in 2021 and early 2022. We think there's probably going to be another round because there's some pretty strategic global players that aren't currently involved. And frankly, this partnership with Cummins may end up leading to an exit.
Yeah. Himalaya, so we're waiting for some questions for the audience, but do you have any additional questions for Dexter?
Yeah, Dexter, we've known each other now a long time. What I really love is your focus on just 2 specific verticals. Can you tell us why you decided to go for those particular verticals instead of the others when you initially started?
Yeah, we've really kind of pivoted around quite a bit. When I first started the company, the fleet vehicles really weren't there. These delivery trucks and transit vans weren't there. And so we were 100% in that B2C realm, the top of the tree that, I really don't like all that much. And one of the things that we discovered about the public charging is the margins are terrible. It's really difficult to mark up electricity to a customer and convince them to pay 3 times what they would pay at home. And then you also have to deal with things like vandalism, and it's a bad place to be. I named fleet and multifamily behind the fence charging because the chargers are mostly behind the fence, protected from the public. And we're charging the same vehicles every day. With our multifamily operators, we can really understand the charging patterns every day, and so our AI algorithms do a much, much better job with it.
And why do electric utilities not provide charge? Can you please take that little window off the screen, please? Thanks. I don't want to just guess. Thank you. Oh man, why do electric utilities not provide chargers and this service to fleets?
So a lot of electric utilities don't provide the chargers themselves, but they provide incentives that we take advantage of. So for example, PGE has incentives that they provide to fleets. Pacific Gas and Electric provides incentives to fleets. So a lot of times, part of our service to the fleet as a turnkey provider is explaining to them what incentives there are, helping them understand the economics so that they can take advantage of all of this money that is available from the utility.
Sure. This is a fun question, Dexter. What inspired you to start this company?
I was doing a DIY project. I had a run-out 2008 Toyota Prius. Well, first of all, I sold my previous company and actually had a couple of $1 million. And I was
that does help, yeah.
It gave me some space to really think about what I wanted to do next. I'm a believer in climate change. I'm also a private pilot. I looked really hard at electric airplanes, but it was just way too early. And I started this DIY project to just rip apart this Prius, put in lithium-ion batteries, turn it into a long-range plug-in. I met some folks in the Oregon EV Association that really got me passionate about EVs, and I decided that was where I was going to put my money and time.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Well, fantastic pitch. I can't wait to watch this all unfold, so thanks, Dexter.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. I hope you have had as much fun as I've had being on this stage. These companies have been phenomenal, right? Between like the plastic breakdown to the banana suit that you and I will be wearing next year, for sure. Everyone better buy their tickets to specifically see me and Shannon.
But Himalaya, I feel like you and I just like started our own show anyhow. So stay tuned because obviously it's really wonderful being on stage with you. Thank you for being here.
It's been great. Thank you so much, all.
You're incredible.
Talk soon.